Hi, and welcome back to Grassroots Crypto, where I like to teach people about crypto. And in this video, I wanted to give an update on what's been happening within THORChain and also obviously the THORFi space, like I have done with previous videos. And I wanted to clear up some of the confusion as well as give an update because it can be hard to keep up to date with things, even for me. So in this video, we're going to be covering these topics, the THORFi, what's happening with that, go over some of the network issues and pauses and halts and why that would happen, then talk about integration updates, some of the fee reform, and then we will have a look at the kill switch and some planned obsolescence updates. So first, THORFi is broken up into, I guess, four main bits you could say. There's the synthetics, which has been out for like a year now. There's the savings, and that allows you to earn incline yield, so Bitcoin on your Bitcoin, Ethereum on your Ethereum, and so on. And that's been out for many months now, but it hits a cap because it's all based off synthetics. Then there's POL, protocol owned liquidity, which is designed to continue allow room for people to add more savings. And then there's lending, which is yet to be released. So we're going to go over the last 3 points a bit more in this video. So we have the savings, the cap, and the POL. So the current cap is 50% with plans to increase this to 60%, and that was detailed in ADR006. And a vote will actually need to happen for it to move from 50 to 60. The POL has been enabled for BTC and Ethereum, and it's only actually required for the BTC savings vault. We actually go have a look at that now. So if we have a look at the synth utilization, it's over 50% and 50% is the cap. So this is where POL gets added. And if we go to this one here, we can see that approximately, 36,000 Rune has been added. There are limits on how much Rune can be added per block, so it doesn't move the pool too much. Anyway, you can have a look at the POL information here, and you can see like the savers is overfilled, and that's why POL needs to happen or be added in order to allow more room for more savings to be added. And just to say, what does that look like from a diagram point of view? So we have here the synth utilization at 50.28 or whatever it is. And then the POL essentially is the reserve adding to the liquidity pool as an LP. And then that would, by increasing this part of the pool, you're going to be decreasing this part of the pool and bring it back below the 50% cap. And that's exactly what POL is designed to do. So as you can see, it's actually needed. POL is needed for Bitcoin, but not needed for Ethereum, as it's not near the cap. If we have a look at the cap, it's not near the cap there at all. So, and then the rest of the pools are fine. So only really thinking that BTC is actually going to be needing that POL for some time. If you remember in my previous videos where I talked about the POL and the savers in detail, I said that the POL activates at the synth cap -5. And whilst that kind of was true at the time, ADR006 introduces a new POL target, which is about set to 45%. So that then enables the synth cap to be raised to say 80%, but the POL trigger will stay the same. Now it's going to be, I think it's POL target plus range, which is 5%. So in English, POL is adding it at 50%. But if you want more information on that, you can actually go to here. This is the actual ADR itself, and have a look at that particular one there, or go have a look at the code. Anyway, it's a little bit different to how it was in my video, so I just wanted to point that one out. Okay, lending. So there's been a lot going on within the protocol, so progress has kind of been delayed due to all the other issues and upgrades and halts and stuff like that. Lending's quite a complicated feature. It needs a dedicated focus where not much else is happening, and that hasn't really been the case. So I guess lending's going a bit longer than everyone would have wanted. Now the docs have been updated with implementation details. There's a lot of debate around the design, and when people read the actual lending design, you've got to understand that it doesn't give all the low-level implementation detail. I've watched the code, and there's been like 5 different versions of the one thing that's happened. Now that seems to have settled, and you can go through and have a look at some of the fundamentals and what it's trying to achieve into the actual formulas and the specific implementation detail that's inside of the code, as well as the controls on like how does it ensure that this thing doesn't run away. And you can read all of that here on the docs. Now, my understanding is that's pretty much set. That's not going to change. whilst there's a couple of code tweaks happening, this is pretty much as is on what's going to be delivered. Now, as you would have seen in the latest update, that lending has actually been deployed to StageNet, and a loan has actually been created. So that's really cool to get some of that testing. It's been reviewed by technical people, obviously the internal devs, and there's also put under the new regression testing framework that came out with a few issues here, and I think the last one got fixed up about a couple of weeks ago. So this is looking pretty good from a code maturity point of view. Having a look at actually the outstanding MRs, I did note there's a couple of issues still outstanding, and then this one here. So main point is there's a couple of little code tweaks outstanding, but lending's looking pretty good. Also, lending was sent out to review by some financial economic eggheads that could go and have a look at the merits of it, and there was a whole document created here for people to get their head around it from a non-technical point of view to see whether lending had the merits under an external review. So once all of the code changes are fixed and everything's happy and that all the internal reviews are done, you can expect to see a THOR gains for lending inside of StageNet, and that'll allow more people from the community to come along and test it out for themselves using real assets and Rune within StageNet. And there should be some pretty hefty bounties available for any bugs that are found. So looking forward to that. Don't know when, but everyone wants to know when, but I'm hoping, I'm always hoping the next couple of weeks, but I guess time will tell. So I want to talk about some of the halts and pauses. And THORChain as a protocol has several dependencies that are outside of its control. And one of the main ones are the blockchains that it integrates with. So that's the Bitcoin blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, and so on. Sometimes there are issues within the blockchain that needs to be paused, or sometimes it's just issues with the active nodes synchronizing, so that can be an issue as well. Or it can be normal stuff like all the upgrades. You would have seen that with like Ethereum and Cosmos and AVAX and stuff like that, where the chain needs to be paused, the upgrade needs to occur, and then all the active node operators need to get synced and up to date for trading to occur. And then there's all the blockchain specific stuff, and we've seen BTC with huge fee spikes because these BRC20 meme tokens and stuff like that significantly have an effect on network congestion, and that's something that I guess THORChain has to deal with, but it's outside of their control. So halts and pauses and stuff like that are a normal part of the business, whether it's planned maintenance or unplanned maintenance, and that was specified, again, laid out inside of here, and also detailed in the mainnet article. So I just want to say that it's like a normal part of the process and nothing to be too wound up about. It's really got to be vulnerabilities and security that we want to be concerned with. And speaking of, I wanted to talk about TSS, which is Threshold Signature Scheme. And just to understand that a bit more, so THORChain holds its funds in a vault, which is really just like a wallet. It's like any other multi-chain wallet. And just to have an idea what that looks like, it's like this. There's like all these different addresses. It's just like a normal multi-chain wallet, and there's 6 of these at the moment. So THORChain holds funds in a wallet, which is really just a wallet, like any other wallet, like a trust wallet and stuff like that, like a normal multi-chain wallet. What makes this wallet so special is there are no private keys, and it requires 2/3 of a set membership, e.g. active node operators, to spend funds from the actual wallet. The technology that makes this possible is called Threshold Signature Scheme, or TSS. THORChain and other projects use an open source version of a Binance implementation of TSS. And for all the technical minded people, we can go to here, which is the THORChain TSS library. And if you move through here, you'll see the dependencies on the Binance multi-party TSS library as well. And this handles all the actual generation of the vaults, as well as the signing ceremony. I did make a video that talked about this in great detail here, THORChain Network Security Part 1, if you want to learn a lot more about TSS. So there's an external dependency on this particular library, and if there's a vulnerability reported, obviously that can be an issue for THORChain. Normally when a vulnerability is reported, a corresponding fix has usually been implemented, so there's no actual issue. However, when a vulnerability is reported and there's no actual fix to accompany it, you can imagine, because this handles all of the actual network funds, the developers are very cautious about this information and want to know exactly, the specifics of the vulnerability and whether that can be exploited. And again, THORChain is just one use of this TSS. So as you would have seen a couple of weeks ago, trading was halted because there was a TSS vulnerability reported and there was no actual fix for it as yet. So once that information was understood, then trading was resumed. Either way, there's these dependencies of the blockchain as well as things like TSS that are outside the control of THORChain, and that's why you may see trading halts for whatever reason in order to ensure security or to deal with the blockchain specific circumstances. All right, so fee reforms. So if you watched my video on fee and wait times, you'll see I went into a great deal of detail into how THORChain processes outbound fees, why they're there, and what they are, which is essentially 3 times the inbound cost. So this can be very expensive, and whilst this can be mitigated using synthetics, it does not help normal swappers moving between L1 assets, so like swapping between Ethereum and Bitcoin, particularly because Ethereum fees can be very high, and as we talked about, there's been the BTC fee hike. Also, savers, when they go to withdrawal, e.g. from the BTC or from the Ethereum savers, they can be paying a large amount because that's going to be the outbound fee. Now, it's important to note that outbound fees give income to the reserve, which ensures the continuity of block rewards well into the future, e.g. the protocol has enough funds to operate for a long time. So if you just reduce the outbound fee, you affect the network income stream, which in turn affects the block rewards, because the bigger the reserve, the more block rewards you get. Now, there are 2 ADRs, so 008 and 009, that propose a reform to the fees as well as the reserve income. So it's quite a large change. You can't just reduce the outbound fee and say everything's great. You need the continuity of the income. So that's something to watch to see how that unfolds. And once all the details settled, I might do a video on that one. Integration. So there's been a lot of work on integration over the year. Firstly, we have these docs that have been fleshed out for any developer or app developer that wants to come along and integrate with THORChain. There's these quick starting guides for swapping as well as saving, and I'm sure when lending's out, there'll be one for lending, as well as a great video by myself, which should give you, it's like a 35-minute video, and it should give any developer pretty much like 95% of what they need to know in order to integrate with THORChain. And it's really just leveraging and showing you how to use this quick start guide. So that's helped a lot of integration to happen. And we've seen recently Trust Wallet as well as Shapeshift and stuff like that being integrated. You can see one here, it was Edge Wallet a while ago. So they're usually announced here in Medium. And if you go to this chart, this is like looking at all the network stats. If you go to affiliates, you can actually have a look at the top 5 affiliates here. So you can see Trust Wallet, like number 1, far ahead of anyone else by the amount of swaps. Then it's going to show you the amount of income they have and so on and so forth. So adding these integrations help drive volume, which help give growth to THORChain, and it's one of the primary focuses for THORChain as well. And this is going to then obviously set it up for when the bull run comes around, because all the groundwork, all the integrations are in place. So when the users get onboarded, everything's there, and then that should be looking at really good volume for THORChain into the future. But the hard work gets done now. So there'll be quite a focus and drive on building the integrations that will drive growth and volume into the future. So then we have this kill switch, which is due to be completed either late June or early July. It really depends on the block time and stuff like that. It's like picking the BTC halving. It kind of always moves, depends on the block duration. The kill switch is where you take, you're not able to redeem non-native Rune. It started about a year ago, and you could get a 1-for-1 redemption before the kill switch started. And then it's going to progressively move down. So, 6 months after the kill switch, you would get 50% until you eventually get 0 once the kill switch has been completed. And that's redeeming non-native Rune to native Rune as well. So having a look at some numbers, there's about 3.47 million of ERC20 or Ethereum-based Rune that's still outstanding. You can get it off Etherscan, as well as about 8.55 million bet 2 Rune, that's outstanding. These are the 9 realm numbers that I got from here, even though the beacon chain says it's about 14 mil. But I think there are some burn addresses here as well. So I think I'm going to trust the 9 realm numbers over what's on here. Either way, once the kill switch is completed, it's going to be done for good. Now, you can still upgrade like your non-native Rune to native Rune, but it's at a fraction of the cost because we're near complete of the kill switch. So it might be, 10 cents on the dollar or something like that. So by the end of it, at least 11 million Rune will never actually go to native Rune and be burnt forever. So plan obsolescence. I want to talk about this. These are the main areas that people generally are always asking about. So this is due to happen at the same time as the end of the kill switch. And this is not my information. If I go to the latest dev update here, we can see vesting, same time as the completion of the kill switch. The admin keys, there should be a final decision on that, and the treasury should be handed over, all complete by the end of July 2023. So something to look forward to there. So what's next coming up for THORChain? Obviously, as I said, a heavy focus on more and more integrations because that's going to build volume and help it scale. Lending, which is going to be a massive feature for THORChain and also helping the scalability. And you can see my videos on lending as well as the fee reform, which I talked about, which is really going to change the reserve income and how much people pay for the outbound fees. Hopefully add to the user experience as well because they're not paying huge amounts of fees. Well, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed. If there's something that I didn't cover, let me know in the comments below. All the links that I've covered here will be in the description below as well. If you like this content, give it a big thumbs up as well as to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, thanks.